I would really like to hear from you if you could describe what your life was like before we started working together.
Fragile, musculoskeletally, fragile in the body, very wary of it. And if I did something wrong, it's going to set me back weeks. And those is not 2 or 3 weeks. We're talking multiple weeks. So yeah, quite fragile around the lower back area, and looking for an answer because I figured there was something out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And apart from the physical, was there anything like mental going on as well? Like, how did it make you feel?
Frustrated, I'd suggest, and a little bit not lost, but not knowing why hasn't somebody given me the answers? Why is somebody, so this physio's telling me this physio's telling me this, the person doing this, and it wasn't all coming together, even though I was putting my effort in, and it was they were just missing the communication method or missing the real fine points. And that's what I saw with you, and I saw it in one of my podcast guests as well. They were like little magicians, they being you and her, that you could actually see something that I was doing wrong that would make a huge difference. So the tiniest thing that I would move, which I would think was nothing, actually was the crux of the issue. So
Mm-hmm.
you asked how I was feeling. Yeah, frustrated and searching for answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit more about what you tried? Because you mentioned a physiotherapist,
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah,
maybe.
different words in different places. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've done physio for a long time with different physiotherapists, um, but then when I started to get some good direction was an osteopath who was a guest on the show. Great woman, and that got me to where I was going to see you, and I needed to progress from where I was seeing her to that real function I was getting with you, and that's what I saw in your videos, and something resonated there, something attracted me to hang on a sec. She's doing things and seeing things in her own body that might make the difference. So yeah, that I tried the physios, I tried osteopaths, and a little bit hands on. But what I needed was somebody to show me exactly how to do it, and doing it repetitively, and doing it starting at the right level as well. And then you got to read your room right, and you
Sure.
read the room right. You took me back to the basics, and that had to be done.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what you tried before us working together, was it mostly kind of based on a set of exercise that would like repeat again and again and again? For example, like, I don't know, you twisted your ankle, let's rehab your ankle. Was it more like that? That would be the main
Yeah,
difference between like what we have been doing the past 3 months and like a rehab program, would you say?
yeah. Oh, the main difference, if you go for the big stones, would be the work I had before. They're setting me at the wrong level. They could give me
Mm.
a twisting lunge on day one. It's like, no, that's not going to work. When all those intrinsic muscles, all the fancy words you want to use, they're not even firing. So I can make an exercise look great to the average person, but then when you see it and you give me that feedback, it's just all wrong. So they're just not pitching at the right level, and then giving the incorrect exercises for what I needed because they're not being able to see that properly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nicely put, you know. Um, so yeah, in a few sentences, how would you describe where you are right now, comparing to where you were in that point A, now in point B? What was that shift?
Like, I've got an actual incredibly exact answer. Your
Mm.
most complex exercise, a twisting reverse lunge, twisting both ways. I did that this morning as my warm up, keeping I call it my first day to my warm up in the mornings, and I was stable, both in an ankle that was broken and had surgeries, and also my spine. Even the tip that you gave of just leaning forwards a little bit, and that just the way you use that's bracing and actually putting me over my center of gravity. That one tip was phenomenal. Whereas I would be doing that exercise for months,
Mm.
not exaggerating, with a physio and screwing it up all the time, falling over. So
Mm.
where I am right now is I'm functional. I've got tools that I can use, meaning the exercises I know. Um, that I can do as exercise. Those actions I can do in my daily life, like I'd be setting my ribs down and my stacking my ribs up on my pelvis, all those fancy words.
Mm.
Now, pain free has been brilliantly pain free. In the 12 weeks, I had pain on 4 or 5 days, and that wasn't the whole day. And as we spoke about before, a small injury, doing some pretty hardcore stuff with it in the fireman world, and that's just about all resolved already. So that's a setback that hardly even set me back, which is brilliant, because I'd be at physio, off work, and taking a lot of drugs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And on that note, actually, because we spoke about it earlier already, but everyone is seeking that pain-free life. But even you here mentioning, like you feel amazing right now. You have all the tools. You kind of have your control over your body back, right? But you still had a few like flare-ups, maybe like a tiny injury. Can you tell me a little bit more about it, like maybe how your perspective shifted, from being like, I just want to feel nothing, be completely pain-free to I can have a few flare-ups because what I do is very, you have a very active lifestyle, you have a very difficult and amazing job. Like what was that shift in a way?
There's a couple of situations. I always used to feel my back when I was driving.
Mm,
And then one day there was like, oh, there's nothing there. There's the
mm,
absence of pain. Most people don't realize the absence of things. So I know what you're saying, and I'm going to come back to that about pain might not be such a bad thing, but then I realized I've been tensing everything in the wrong ways for
mm,
so long. So it's brilliant. I'm literally driving along, and it's like, oh, this is pain free. This is what relaxed is. So that gives me a good mental outlook as well, because my bandwidth is a bit easier. As my bandwidth in my brain isn't related to that pain in the back. But that pain, there's a famous special forces line, pain's your friend. It tells you when you're seriously hurt or injured. It can be a good indicator. And that pain on Friday, pain 3 days ago, doing that rescue training, that reminded me, hang on a sec, that's right at the edge of your boundaries here. Switch
mm.
on next time. And that boundaries get bigger and bigger. And so pain is a good teacher. It's not good to go through, but what's been really magic is being able to have the body, the education, doing the actual exercises to be able to get that back in check, and to not have a flare up, just have just the tiniest bit of pain, and fix it.
Exactly, because pain is information, pain is feedback, and we just need to
Mm.
learn how to understand, how to assess, how to break it down, understand it, and then find the solution yourself, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you have any hesitations before we started working together? Because I know you just like pretty much straightforward reach out to me and we started, chatting. But was there anything that you were unsure about and you were like, I'm not sure if that's for me, a little bit hesitant about it?
This is, I hope that nobody else has said this, but the only hesitation was on the price.
Hmm.
And I'm going to come back and pray Charles and Bo in a good way. I had no hesitation about your skill. I trust. Don't tell me my job. And if your house on fire, don't tell me what to do. I'll take care of that. Okay. um, I employed you and trusted you, and discriminated there. So there's no hesitation on that. When I saw your exercise program, I was like, this is brilliant. There was a learning curve of an app. No big deal. I figured it out as an old guy, but there was hesitation on the price. And then literally a week or two into it, I could see the value in it. And now, coming at the end of that time, it's like, what wouldn't I be paying for that? And that's where I'm
Mm.
tying it in a bow. If we look at the money that I've spent and that work has spent on my back, that's nothing. There's been a lot of wasted money. So the price was a hesitation, but you just got to look at it at the end of it. Okay, what result have I got for that investment? And it was brilliant. It was well worth it. And I tell everybody, my little magician paid her a ton of money, and look what she's done.
Definitely, your tiny investment, right, in a
Yeah,
magician. I love this. No, for sure, and I completely understand. I even myself, whenever I pay for a specialist professional, there's always like obviously money is very important, right? But like when we understand that health is the most important thing in our lives, this is like just another investment, right? That will be pay us later. That's why how I like to call it, right?
It
We're
does,
gonna get that
and you
return
know,
on investment later.
it was coming every time you did a review of my exercises with the loom. It was exponential. It seemed beyond. You know, you're not just paying for a program because that was the original thing. Okay, this is a great program. Cool, got this, and starting to do it. Not sure, but your feedback from those that's the word I was looking for, invaluable. You couldn't really put a price on that. It was like being coached in person and you're on the other side of the world, and it was brilliant.
So it sounds like you actually did have some expectations in the beginning, right? Can you tell me a little bit, just maybe in more detail, what were they and whether we exceeded them?
Oh yeah, easy. The expectations are that I would get the results that I saw online on your Instagram, on your videos, and so on. That you would live up to your promise. That's the
Mhm.
expectation. That's I paid this money for this product, and the product is you're going to get me out of this pain. You're going to live up to your what you said you would do. And the answer is yes. You easily did on week two. And it carried on every week. The exercise programming, the feedback, and then how I was feeling. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I saw immediate results.
I'm really happy to hear that, because well, we've known each other for a while now, but when you're happy, I'm happy, When you're unhappy, I'm gonna be unhappy as well. So hearing all of this, it's just makes me just warm inside, and just
Well,
smile.
the funniest
My
part when
screen.
the funniest part I had I can't remember what caused it. I had a little tweak in my back like 3.5, 4 weeks ago. And you said, okay, take a rest day. And I remember messing back, not a chance in hell, basically,
Yeah.
because I knew your exercises make it better. And it was like, okay, she's doing by the book, have a rest day. It wasn't from overwork. Your exercises make things better. And of course, the next day was better.
Nice. I remember that day, I was like, oh no, what happened, But you listen to your body, and you did amazing. So yeah. Would you say there's like what would be the biggest lesson that you learned while working with me? Like one, the biggest lesson from these 3 months. What would that
Oh,
be?
that's easy. That's
Easy. Oh,
easy answer.
go on.
I've so the answer to your question at the start or statement,
Mm.
'cause I'm not your age is written down in my podcast notes, but I've been lifting weights for 41 years.
Hmm.
I've been exercising for 41 years. Oh, that's weights. I've been exercising before that. So that's longer than a lot of people are alive.
Hmm.
And going to you with my level of knowledge and my skill is like saying I can drive and then getting Michael Schumacher to take me for a drive. There's a big difference. Yeah. So what you saw in my exercise videos, my God, what I thought I was doing versus what I was supposed to be doing, two completely different things. And then when I did exactly what you told me to do, boom, it was just a step ahead.
Hmm. Hmm. That's why, I don't really believe in the right exercises, in the right reps, sets, whatever. I mean, it's also very, very important. Depends what sport you do, how you move and everything, but it's the form, it's the actual why behind it, right? Like we have to understand why we're doing it, why we're doing it wrong, whether we're doing it correct, and then we can scale it, right? And play with
Oh,
different exercises, not
I've
other
done
way around.
I've done hip thrusts as an example, probably hundreds of them. And it's a new exercise for a guy like me. And with weight, I can move a lot of weight, but it took me, what, 5 or 6 weeks to get that action right. And that's one of the cruxes of my injury is that my hip extension didn't work with stabilization. And, 6 weeks of practice with your critiquing and
Mhm.
advice has fixed that up really well.
Exactly. We just had to make very tiny tweaks, right, over 6 weeks or so, and boom, we worked through it. Baby steps, but like you said, it's always going back to the foundations and not just chasing more weight and more weight and more reps and everything, right? Do one rep, Correct. You know, it's going to benefit you more than doing 10,000 in with bad form. So
Yeah, yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. I agree.
exactly. Okay, last question to just wrap up, what would you say to someone who is maybe a little bit hesitant about going into this? What would you tell them? Straight off the bat.
It's like Nike, isn't it? Just do it. Um, yeah. Well, and from my end, I'm very happy. You exceeded expectations almost immediately. The value for money is absolutely brilliant, and the lack of pain and the happiness I've got is exactly what I was looking for. And it was a short period of time. I worked really hard, and you worked really hard to keep it going. So that's what I say to them. I'd say do it, and that's what I got out of it, and I hope they do too.